This directorate was headed by a Freemason from Salonika. Parliament had also passed a law on parties and associations, under which the Society of Union and Progress had been given the right to dissolve other organizations similar to it or in conjunction with it among Bulgarians, Greeks, and others. The Society of Union and Progress became a political party. After the Association of Unity and Progress had carried out the operation of silencing other organizations, it pretended, by means of lies and deceit, to transform itself from a secret revolutionary organization into a political party and social organization, with articles of association and by laws made public. The growth of the assemblies of Freemasonry, but in the meantime, can also be noted that Freemasonry assemblies have sprouted like mushrooms in the rainy season, both in large cities and in small towns, both in Macedonia and in the capital. It can be noted that in 1 year alone 12 Freemasonry councils were established. One does not need to delve deeply to know that the secrecy of the Freemasonry assemblies has partly been used to cover up the inward actions of the association, which has declared itself no longer a secret organization. But it is clear that the organization continues to carry out secret propaganda. Employees and others are encouraged in various ways to enter the assemblies. It is also clear that employees and others in positions of importance have been made to understand that their rank and position, their promotion, and subsequently their sustenance and income, all depend on their joining the assemblies of Freemasonry, so that they become a brother. It was also told to some of them that if they would join Freemasonry, then problems such as the Egyptian, Cretan, and other problems affecting the national greatness of the country would be solved in accordance with Turkey's interests. Similarly, the great secrets of international politics will be revealed to them. They will be the brothers of the King of England, and they will have the opportunity to shake hands with him and exchange secret codes with him when he next visits Constantinople, and so on and so forth. The British Council hides behind a Turkish name. Most of the new members of Freemasonry made visits to the British Freemasonry Council, which had long been established under the name of Turkey, some of whom had already succeeded in becoming members. Great efforts were made to make them believe that by joining Freemasonry, they were in fact joining an English organization. The falsehood that the new assemblies belonged to the Scottish Assembly. The new assemblies of Freemasonry, like those in Egypt, claim to belong to the old Scottish ceremonies. The King of England is patron of the Scottish Assembly. These assemblies also falsely claim to be licensed by the Great Scottish Assembly, which functions under the patronage of the King of England. With all these words, the councils wanted to inspire confidence in the souls of the entire Ottoman society, for the name of England had indeed earned their trust. Incorporating military officers into Freemasonry. In order for the Freemasonry to strengthen its control over the army, a large number of officers, especially those whose salaries were not very high, were incorporated into the Freemasonry Council called Resna, which was the name of the place where Niyazi Bey was born in Macedonia. This Freemasonry Council was headed by Major Usman Falami Bey, Niyazi Bey's brother. Members entered the Freemasonry Assembly. Most of the members of Parliament, both lower and upper houses, have entered Freemasonry. They belong to the Freemasonry Assembly called Duster, of which Tayat Bey, Minister of Interior, and Javid Bey, Minister of Finance, are among the prominent leaders. Arab members of Parliament organize Freemasonry Assembly for them only. After the opposition members of Parliament, especially those of Arab nationality, realized that they were increasingly distanced from the centers of power, outside the flow of political secrets and local conspiracies, they began to establish Freemasonry assemblies specifically for them alone. Or they may have participated in existing assemblies. For example, they have founded the Brotherhood of Uthman and Friends of Independent Societies. Bektashi sect and Freemasonry. In addition to what has been mentioned above, there are members of the Bektashi sect who have broken away from Ahl-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, numbering up to 1 million people. of whom live in southern Albania and Macedonia. They hold secret religious ceremonies which have many similarities with the ceremonies of Freemasonry. And they have an organizational structure similar to that of Freemasonry. They expressed a desire to join Freemasonry. Bektashi ceremonies are similar to those of Freemasonry. These Bektashi members are strongly motivated by the true spirit of Freemasonry, which is different from the political Freemasonry and atheist Freemasonry that one finds in some parts of continental Europe. New assemblies founded. In addition to the assemblies we have mentioned above, new assemblies were founded between 1909 and 1910. They were named as follows: Loyalty of the East, Familiar Friends of Unity and Progress, Revival of Byzantium, Truth, Fatherland, Revival, Branch of the Macedonian Revival Assembly, Dawn, all of which names are familiar to researchers of the secret activities of Egyptian politics. All these assemblies are under Jewish leadership. It appears that these assemblies of Freemasonry, like the network of assemblies in Salonika and Macedonia, are all planned and led by Jews. Since the Americans and Greeks and other local Christians are, so to speak, unrepresented in them, if not totally excluded. Earlier I mentioned that Prince Said Halim al-Masri, together with his brother Abbas, and also Prince Aziz Hasan and others of the Egyptians, motivated by an overwhelming hatred of the Khedive, had cooperated with the Society of Union and Progress and made financial contributions to it. Relationship between Young Turk Freemasonry and Egyptian Freemasonry. The way in which the Young Turk Freemasons, who had entered the capital by way of Salonika, and Egyptian Freemasonry, had been influenced by the various conflicting currents that had pervaded the political air on the shores of the Bosphorus, which was not devoid of fog and turmoil. The Freemasons themselves have told different stories about what really happened. The relationship between Syrian Freemasonry and Egyptian Freemasonry. Idris Bey Raghib, the head of the Egyptian Grand Council, who people say has been recognized by the Scottish Grand Council, is the founder and custodian of a large number of Freemasonry councils in Egypt, Syria, Palestine, and Lebanon. In Lebanon, we are confronted with the strange fact that many Roman Catholics belong to Freemasonry. Similarly, Muhammad Irfai Pasha had established a number of Freemasonry assemblies in Egypt, Jerusalem, and in southern Syria, and he made great efforts to incorporate the Freemasonry assemblies into his organization. In the spring of 1909, he had gone to Constantinople for this purpose. But he faced many difficulties. When there was a revolt of the military units on April 13, 1909, he was frightened and immediately returned to Egypt. Sometime before that event, Idris Raghib had authorized Prince Aziz Hasan, who had reached the 17th degree in the Italian Freemasonry Assembly in Iskandaria, for the latter to merge the Freemasonry assemblies in Constantinople into the Egyptian Grand Assembly. Freemasonry removes Sultan Abdul Hamid from his throne. Negotiations in this direction were carried out shortly after the entry into the capital of Macedonian troops, led and directed by Freemasons. It was at the hands of these troops that the deposition of Sultan Abdul Hamid from his throne took place, for the Sultan had given a very strong resistance to Freemasonry, which he considered to be a very dangerous secret political society. The necessary approval had been obtained from the Italian Grand Council, and because of this event, and the special approval given by the Supreme Council of Freemasonry in Belgium, through Yusuf Bey Sakakini, Prince Aziz Hasan had been promoted to the 33rd degree and given the power to form the Grand Assembly of Turkey. This was done in May or August of 1909. Mahmud Talat Bey, Minister of the Interior, was appointed as the highest chairman of this assembly. The victory of Italian Freemasonry over British Freemasonry. From what has been stated above, it is clear that the victory of the armed forces coming from Macedonia over Sultan Abdul Hamid in March 1909, and their successful occupation of the capital Constantinople, meant the victory of Italian-inspired Freemasonry over the British-recognized General Council of Freemasonry in Egypt. Thereafter, all the assemblies of Freemasonry in Constantinople gradually joined it, as did all the assemblies of Freemasonry in Macedonia. It was also decided that all Ottoman Freemasonry assemblies in Syria, Egypt, and would be subject to the Ottoman Grand Assembly. A little history of Egyptian Freemasonry. Prince Hazen returned to Egypt accompanied by Yusuf Sakakini, with the aim of realizing this objective. But Idris Bey Raghib and others disagreed with this idea. In their opinion, Egypt and Lebanon, which were two regions with their own characteristics, should also be two independent regions in relation to political Freemasonry. Under these circumstances, there was a separation between Prince Hazen and Idris Raghib, who had been sent to Constantinople, and Muhammad Farid, the Egyptian national leader, was appointed as the representative of the Grand Ottoman Council in Egypt. This was in accordance with the directive given by Talat Bey, the Grand Master of the Ottoman Grand Assembly. The ceremony of his appointment was held at the Grand Assembly of Freemasonry in Tanta. Khalid Hamada Pasha, Shaim Makarios, the owner of Al-Makadam newspaper, and other leaders of Egyptian Freemasonry, who felt no connection with the nationalists, strongly opposed the appointment of Muhammad Farid to such a high Freemason position. It was His Highness the Khedive himself who had criticized the step by which the Egyptian nationalists had been able to establish Freemason ties with the Society of Union and Progress. But the appointment of Muhammad Farid, since it had already taken place, could not be undone. Khalid Hamada Pasha put forward a proposal to settle the matter, namely by establishing a special Ottoman General Assembly in Egypt, independent of the General Assembly of Constantinople, making it clear that Muhammad Farid held no office in it. With the establishment of the Ottoman Grand Assembly in Egypt, and the appointment of its own Grand Master, the appointment of Muhammad Farid as the representative of the Ottoman Grand Assembly was in practice nullified. Khalid Hamada Pasha was now in Constantinople trying to convince Karaso, the Jewish member of the Ottoman Parliament and leader of the Grand Assembly of Italian Freemasonry in Salonika, to use all his influence on Talat Bey to get him to agree to the plan outlined above. Prince Aziz Hazen and Muhammad Farid were also on their way to Constantinople, and when Talat Bey denied the truth of the news about the Ottoman appointments in Egypt, and when he explained that he and his friends in the Society of Unity and Progress would not commit such a foolish act, then he was deliberately lying. It is possible that he did so under the pressure of the oaths taken by the members of the association not to reveal its secrets. At the same time, Yusuf Sakakini had also reached Constantinople, after traveling from Egypt to Syria, where he had stayed for some time, to incorporate the Freemasonry assemblies into the Ottoman Grand General Assembly. The Ottoman Grand General Assembly subject to the Society of Union and Progress. The Supreme Grand Assembly in Turkey, which is subservient to the Society of Unity and Progress, succeeded in taking control of the assemblies of Freemasonry in Egypt and filling them with Egyptian nationalists. It is certain that this tendency is towards a covert and hidden operation whose aim is an unexpected social explosion one day, similar to the explosion that shocked the world in Salonika in May 1908.